Uh, So students, in the last period, I have explained you the law of constant proportion, and just today I explained the homogeneous system and regarding the heterogeneous system, because I came to know that the video is corrupt. Video is corrupt, and therefore I am repeating the homogeneous system. Now homogeneous system is one. Homo means same. Homo means same, and genus means phase. The system which occurs in only one phase is called homogeneous system. So, for example, the gases form homogeneous system. Gases form a homogeneous system. Two gases are miscible into one another. For example, when we mix N2 and H2, it forms a homogeneous system. And again, if the reaction of nitrogen and hydrogen is carried out in presence of catalysts like finely divided iron and molybdenum as a promoter, then we get ammonia gas. So ammonia is a gas, nitrogen is a gas, hydrogen is a gas, and this system is a homogeneous system. For example, when we dissolve the sugar in water, the sugar particle get dissolved in water and get spread, and where they occupies the position, they occupies the, you can say, intermolecular spaces of the solvent molecules like water. So sugar solution is a homogeneous solution. Then NaCl solution, that is when common salt is dissolved in water, and if the mixture is stirred by glass rod, then the whole NaCl gets dissolved in the water and it forms a homogeneous system. So in this way, this is about the homogeneous system, and we can say that true solution, that is solution of sugar, solution of NaCl, solution of copper sulfate, forming the, you can say, homogeneous system, and this is known as homogeneity. So mixture of two or more gases which are miscible into one another form a homogeneous system. Then about the heterogeneous system, for example, we have studied about the colloids, that is when the starch is dissolved in water. If the starch is dissolved in water and if it is stirred and heated, it forms a colloidal solution. That is where the particle size of the solute molecule is greater than that of the true solution. So particle size is greater than that of true solution. The particles, even though are invisible, but can be seen by, you can say, under by ultra microscope, and the system appears homogeneous. Colloidal solution appears to be homogeneous, but it is found to be heterogeneous, and therefore you can say the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. For example, what is dispersed phase? The solute particle is the solute molecule, or solute is the dispersed phase, and solvent molecule which is taken in large quantity is the dispersion medium. So in case of colloidal system which is to be heterogeneous, the two phases are distinctly seen. And because of the different phases, you can say their properties are changed. That is, properties of the solvent are changed due to the formation of the colloidal system or heterogeneous system. For example, Tyndall effect, we have seen the colloidal particles having somewhat larger size than the particles of the true solution, and therefore colloidal solution, particles of the colloidal solution scattered the light, and this scattering of the light is called Tyndall effect. And similarly, you can say the colloidal particle, you can say, exhibit Brownian movement, that is solvent molecule are collide with the molecules of the solute particle, and that is molecules of the dispersion, media dispersed phase, and you can say that there is a Brownian movement, that is zigzag motion of the you can say dispersed phase, or you can say solute particle along the straight line path is called Brownian movement, and this is the, you can say, heterogeneous phase. And again, about the coarse suspension, I have told you that, for example, when the chalk powder is added in water and if the mixture is shaken, what will happen? The chalk particle gets dispersed in the solution, in the water, and this is called suspension, because in suspension the solute particles are clearly seen by naked eye and their particle size is greater than the particles of the colloidal solution and true solution. And similarly, when these particles are dispersed in the solution, they scatter the light, called, you can say, Tyndall effect. This scattering of the light is known as Tyndall effect. And if the solution is allowed to stand for some time, then all these particles of the suspension, they get settled at the bottom and the property of Tyndall effect is lost. And similarly, the coarse suspension will not be stable, if it is allowed to stand for some time. While colloidal solution is stable one. If it is allowed to stand for some time, then the colloidal particle never gets settled at the bottom. And remember, this is the main difference between the colloidal solution and coarse suspension. And thus, suspension is a heterogeneous system, and colloidal solution is also a heterogeneous system, even though it appears to be homogeneous, because the two phases are clearly distinct. And in this way, solid can be dissolved into liquid, liquid can be dissolved into liquid, gas can be dissolved into liquid, and from this we have studied the number of colloidal systems in the last period, and this is about the homogeneity of the solution of the, you can say, gaseous form homogeneous system, which occurs in only one phase. Then we have studied the law of constant proportion. In law of constant proportion, we have seen that in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in definite proportion by mass. For example, no matter where you bring the substance, then no matter by which method you have prepared the substance, no matter from which source you are bringing the substance. For example, consider water. I have also explained the example of water. You can bring the water from well, from lake, from river, from, you can say, rainwater, and in this way you can collect there are number of sources of water. There are number of sources from which we can collect the water, and you can also prepare water by burning of hydrogen. Hydrogen, when burned in oxygen, it forms hydrogen oxide, that is water. And you can also bring the samples, you can also collect the samples from Pakistan, America, Russia, Brazil, etc., and so many countries. And if the water is analyzed, you will find that water contains, on analysis, you will find 2:60, and that is 1:8. Thus, 1 part by weight of hydrogen always combines with 8 part by weight of oxygen. You know, hydrogen atomic weight 1, and there are 2 hydrogen atoms, therefore 2, and oxygen atomic mass 16, and therefore you can say 2:16 or 1:8. And thus you will find that 1 part by weight of hydrogen always combines with 8 part by weight of oxygen, and thus you can say they combine in a definite, they are present in the water molecule in a definite proportion. Or you can say two or more element, and therefore Proust, chemist Proust stated this law of constant proportion, or the law is also known as law of definite proportion. Law of definite proportion. So law of definite proportion. Law of definite proportion, or law of constant proportion. Law of constant proportion. Constant proportion. And consider the example ammonia, NH3. What is the atomic mass of nitrogen? 14. And you know there are 3 hydrogen atoms, and therefore 3 atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. There are 3 hydrogen atoms, therefore 3. Thus in ammonia molecule you will find that 14 parts by weight of nitrogen will always combine with 3 parts by weight of hydrogen, and in this way you can say ammonia molecule, and in this way we can say that the law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. In a chemical substance, the element always combine in a definite proportion by mass, irrespective of the source or method by which it is obtained. So again, there is a Dalton's atomic theory, and Dalton's atomic theory state that all matter is made up of very tiny particle called atoms. Atoms of the matter or element or compound are indivisible. Matter, you can say atoms of the same element having same size, same properties, same structure. Atoms of the same element having similar size or same size, shape, and you can say their physical properties and chemical properties. Atoms of the different element have different properties like mass, size, shape, etc. And chemical and physical properties are also different. Atoms of different element will have different physical and chemical properties, different size, different masses, etc. Clear? Then they always combine in a definite proportion. They always combine in a definite proportion. And the last is that relative number and kinds of particles, kinds of atoms are constant in a given compound. So in a given compound you can say, for example, H2O. There will be a constant 2 hydrogen atom. That is, atoms of different element are constant. For example, hydrogen atoms are 2 that are constant, 1 oxygen atom constant. Ammonia molecule, atoms are constant. And in this way, this is the Dalton's atomic theory. So we have studied about some points of the Dalton's atomic theory, and then we have to study about the atoms. So regarding the atom. Atom. So atom, I have told you, the smallest particle of an element or matter is called atom, and atom is not further divisible. We have seen atoms of the same element have similar properties, similar shape, similar size, and thus their physical and chemical properties are same. Atoms of different element having different shape, different size, different physical and chemical properties, different masses also. So for example, mass of one atom of hydrogen is different than mass of one atom of oxygen. So see, this is the difference. Physical properties of the hydrogen atom are different than the physical properties of oxygen. Chemical properties of hydrogen atom are different than the chemical properties of the oxygen, and their masses are also different. and they always combine in a definite proportion by mass and relative number, and kinds of atom are constant when in a given compound. In a given compound. For example, NaCl. In NaCl, the kinds of atom is Na and Cl. They are always present in a definite proportion by mass. And in this way, we can define the atom as the smallest particle of an element or matter, smallest particle of an element, better to say. And this atom may have free or may not have free existence, may have or may not have free existence. For example, some element they are monoatomic, that is their molecule consists of only one atom, and therefore some element having same atom and same molecule. For example, hydrogen is diatomic. That is, hydrogen atom is H and hydrogen molecule is H2. Oxygen atom is O, oxygen molecule is O2. So you can say that atom is the smallest particle of an element which cannot be further divided or which is indivisible and may or may not take part in chemical reaction and may or may not have free existence. So that is, atom can exist, may exist in free state or may not exist in free state. For example, hydrogen atom will not exist in free state. It immediately combines to form hydrogen molecule. Oxygen atom will not exhibit in free state. It will combine with other oxygen atom and to form oxygen molecule. And thus we can say that. So see, lithium, then sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, these are called atoms as well as molecules. For example, when we write Li means whether it is atom or molecule. Li means you can say atom as well as molecule. So Li, Na, when we write Na means atom or molecule in the same way. So these are monoatomic. Then for example, when we write Ap, when we write Cu, when we write Au, when we write Al. So when we write Ap, it is the atom as well as molecule. And therefore here we can say that metals are monoatomic. Metals are monoatomic. That is, their molecule consists of only one atom. And you can say Ap monoatomic, Cu monoatomic, Au gold monoatomic, then Ag silver monoatomic, etc. So in this way, magnesium monoatomic, Mg monoatomic. So in this way, atom is the smallest particle which cannot be divided or which are indivisible, and may or may not have free existence and may or may not take part in chemical reaction. So that is the atom. Now about the hydrogen molecule. It is a molecule. When we write H2, it is a hydrogen molecule. And when we write H, it is the atom of hydrogen. Atom of hydrogen. So remember the main difference. You should know this difference. That when we write H means atom of hydrogen, H2 means molecule. In the same way, O2 molecule, and O means atom of oxygen. Atom of oxygen. So in the periodic table you have to study, you will study the different elements. They are arranged with the increasing order of their atomic numbers, and from the periodic table you can study that which elements are monoatomic, which are diatomic, which are triatomic, which are tetraatomic, and which are octatomic. For example, hydrogen, H2 means hydrogen molecule, H means atom of hydrogen, O2 means molecule of oxygen, O means atom of oxygen. Then, for example, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. See, these are the atoms of halogen. For example, atom of fluorine, atom of chlorine, atom of bromine, atom of iodine. And molecule, for example, F2, here Cl2, here Br2, molecule of bromine, and here I2, molecule of iodine. So in this way, these are the atoms and these are the molecules. And from this, we can also define the molecule as the smallest particle of an element or compound. Now we can say that when we write HCl, HCl means it is the molecule of hydrogen chloride. It is the molecule of hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid, and it is not the atom. So it is a molecule of compound. It is the molecule of compound. When we write the molecule of element, we can write F2, Cl2, Br2, I2. Here, molecule of silver is Ag. Atom of silver, Ag. Al, aluminium. Atom of, you can say, aluminium, atom as well as molecule. Gold, atom as well as molecule. And in this way, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. All these are the atoms as well as molecules. So we can define the molecule. Molecule is the smallest particle, or you can say smallest particle or smallest part of the element or compound which can take part in chemical reaction and may have free existence and having free existence. For example, here what we are observing, F plus F giving F2. Two or more atoms combine to form molecule. Two or more atoms combine to form molecule. So here see about the H2 molecule plus Cl2 molecule giving two molecules of hydrochloric acid. Giving two molecules of hydrochloric acid, and this is the molecule, and here two molecules are formed. That means what we can say, that molecule is formed by the combination of two or more atoms. Molecule is formed by the combination of two or more atoms. Two or more atoms get strongly attracted, strongly bound to each other, and you can say form a molecule. And in this way, the molecule is formed, and molecule of the element is having, you can say, different property, and molecule of the compound having totally different properties than the element from which it is formed. For example, hydrogen having different property, chlorine having different property, and you can say properties of hydrochloric acid or hydrogen chloride are totally different from the hydrogen and chlorine. And in this way, molecule is generally formed by the combination of two or more atoms. So when two or more atoms combine with each other, they form the molecule. And therefore we can say that molecule is generally group of two or more atoms that are chemically bound to each other. Group of two or more atoms. Atoms of two or more elements, they are combining and forming a group of atoms, and thus group of atoms is a molecule. And thus, which are the diatomic molecule? For example, and when we say that the molecule is diatomic, when the molecule consists of two atoms, then it is said to be diatomic. For example, hydrogen, H2, O2, F2, Cl2, Br2, I2, N2. These are all diatomic molecules. That is, their molecule consists of 2 atoms. Then take the example of ozone, O3. Ozone is triatomic molecule, consists of 3 atoms, O3. Then phosphorus, P4 molecule. P4 molecule means that the phosphorus molecule consists of 4 atoms. Then you can take the sulfur as octatomic molecule. Molecule of the sulfur we write as S8. S8 means molecule of the sulfur. Thus sulfur molecule consists of 8 atoms and thus it is a octatomic. And in this way, and this is called atomicity of an element. That is, the number of atoms present in the molecule of the given element. The number of atoms present in the molecule of the given element is called its atomicity. So all metals, they are monoatomic. Hydrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, nitrogen, they are diatomic. Our ozone is triatomic. Phosphorus is tetraatomic. That is, phosphorus molecule consists of 4 atoms. Sulfur is octatomic, acid molecule. And in this way, we can define atom, molecule and their atomicity. झाले का 25 मिनिट? झाला, मोठा व्हिडिओ झाला आणि मागचंही रिपीट केलं जरा. एक व्हिडिओ करप्ट झाला होता.